Hey Josh, welcome to my home, and it's good to see you again, because I know that you've been on furlough for a long time and we haven't crossed paths that much, but I know that you've got some news that you need to talk that you're going to tell us, which is great. But just before that, I'd love to just hear how furlough's been for you. I know you've been on furlough for, I forget how long now, quite a long time, and just what's that been like for you? What's furlough been like for you?
Well, great to be here. I love your home. Furlough, I think at first it was kind of a bit of a shock and felt really hard actually to kind of be pulled from what we'd been integrated in so much, and I think having that realisation that so much of life was integrated into what we do, I think that was God kind of showing us the separation of that, and in a really good way, just saying you're more than what you do and what your product or what the fruit is of your life. And so I think it's actually started hard, but seeing the blessing and seeing what God was doing with our children and with our family, it's been a real blessing. I've had months with the children and of time that I never would have, or probably won't ever have again, and that's a huge blessing to see them grow and thrive in that time. Has been amazing. So
that's really cool. I remember you saying that to me. You know how it's been a real blessing for you to be with family. But I also know that in this time, which is often the case, isn't it, when you have a bit of space to reflect, that God's been really speaking to you. And just talk us through what God's been saying to you and Beth, and about the future.
I think that was the first thing that it's not just about ministry, that life is more than that. I know that seems very obvious to lots of people, but that was one thing. I think just learning to be content with Him, be with Him, a closeness, drawing into Him. As I fathered our children, it was like He was fathering me, and it's like kind of this amazing thing that He was mirroring through that. And I think just in conversation with each other and with God, we feel like it's actually time for us to leave Philly and to move on from the staff and being at this church as a family, which feels very hard to say because it's been such a big part of our lives. But that's kind of what the news is, and where we feel like God is asking what we feel like God is asking us to do. And obviously you and I we've been having conversations over a couple of months now about this, and sort of discerning, hearing what God's saying to you guys, and discerning that, and needless to say, and I just want it to be heard, it's sad for us to hear that, but we also know that God's been really speaking to you, and it feels like we've been doing that. And I know we've had conversations, haven't we, about different possibilities. Do you want to just talk us through those kind of thoughts? I think, you and Sam have been great, and it's been you've really blessed me in the way that we've been able to have robust conversations and talk about where Philly's at, and my heart is still, I still love Philly, I still love this church, I still believe that God is bringing some amazing stuff, but I think just the fit, and then combined with what God was doing in our family and in our lives, just felt like the options that we talked about just for this time weren't the right thing. And I think for us to kind of just take more risks, I think, and not that Philly doesn't take risks, but I think for us as a family to be like, come out of some of the safety that you've created and some of that space, and see what God is going to do, and be quick to be obedient and quick to respond to those things. And that was just for us meant leaving the security of kind of the staff post and the Philly family, sadly, but so that's kind of what God's been saying. It's exciting to hear what God, and we'll watch really closely to what God's calling you guys into, and I know that we'll stay friends. I know like you said, Philly means a lot to you guys. You've been around a long time and served Philly for a long time, so it is sad, but it's exciting as well, isn't it, about what God might be calling you guys into. And I know you said that Philly's really important to you. I'd love to hear what you want to say to us,
you know, because it's, you know, just love to hear that.
Yeah. I've been thinking and praying about this quite a lot, about Philly, and you know, if there was one or two things I'd love to say. I think the first thing is I think God is, as we can see, God is shaking up the global church, and I think he's kind of positioning churches and people who are willing to adapt and change to what he's doing, and I think Philly can be at the forefront of that, and it has been for years, and I think it will be in years to come. And some of the stuff that you and Sam have in the pipeline, and you guys being the right leaders at the right time, and I think kind of what does it look like to kind of be ready to respond and be quick to those and adapt, basically. I think some of us may need to let go of preconceived ideas of church or things that we think we need in a church structure, and be ready to go where God's leading, I think would be the first thing. I think the second thing is this whole thing has prompted in so many and in me, what does it look like to really abide, to really sit with God, to remain in him. If you remain in me, you will bear much fruit. And actually it's not about the fruit, it's about remaining and being. And I think my advice, my hope for every individual in this church would be that they tend to the things unseen first.
Yeah.
That the primary thing is to have a secret place, to be still with God, to hear his voice, to allow him to speak, to orientate just a moment, a small, tiny bit of time towards him, and he will blow your mind. And I think, so my heart would be make time to hear him, make time to be with him. That's it.
That's so good, and going to miss your little insights and your encouragements. I know it won't be the last though. I know we're going to stay in touch, and we just want to bless you, Josh, and thanks for this time together, and we're going to do that, in the service as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you.